Hello there and welcome to Faceoff, your platform where you always get the two sides of the coin. Now, recently Nigeria marked its 52nd anniversary. That was on the 1st of October, precisely on Monday. And indeed, the celebration was low-key because many thought there was nothing to celebrate. There was nothing to rejoice about. But on the other side, some others felt that there is something to rejoice. Indeed, Nigeria has come of age. Nigeria has gone through the different waters and still surviving. In the midst of all the storms that this nation has gone through, the nation has remained focused and is moving towards better days. Now, the speech of the president elicited certain reactions from different quarters. Some said it was not true, some said it was true, some said he lied, some said he did not lie. But that being the case, the dreams of the fathers in setting up Nigeria when they clamored for independence in 1960 was that this nation would be a leading nation, would be a great nation indeed. And some will say, yes, Nigeria is on the path to greatness. But there are many others who believe that that path to greatness has not even been touched. What is the problem? Are the dreams of the father still being still being kept in the fore, or are they being thwarted by those who say they are those that are carrying those dreams to the end? Are the youth given their pride of place, or are the older generation occupying until, as they say, until he comes? Well, these are some of the questions we hope to ask today on Faceoff and hope that we'll get answers to. Nigeria at 52. Today or yesterday and tomorrow's dreams. Where are they? What will happen to those dreams? I have two gentlemen in the house, one of the older generation, the other of the younger generation, and they hope to give us insight on both sides of the divide, how they think and how they feel about the situation. To my right, I have Honorable Solomon Edoja, former member of the House of Representatives. Thank you for coming on Faceoff.
Good evening and welcome, viewers.
And on this other side, I have Dare Dairo, a youth activist and social commentator. Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Well, gentlemen, you have 10 seconds each to make your opening statements, and I'll begin with you, Dare.
Well, like a son to a father, every generation survives on the lifeline handed to it by the generation before it. And I must say, the founding fathers of this country did their job well. But the generation that took it from them lived as if they were the only generation that would live and none would live before them, because they came, they saw, they conquered, and they squandered. Now, this is the result that we, the youth of today, are having to build from scratch.
Okay, that's a quick one.
Well, where do we start? I think the youth of today, they find it difficult to discuss some of the things that we discuss because they didn't go through the good old days. Today we hear about the good old days. None of them can say the good of today. But I know my generation have what we call the good old days. And the good old days existed because there were good things that you can talk about at any time. The Independence Day celebrations, many of the celebrations we have at that time, we don't have anything called low kid. We never witnessed such things. We look forward towards Independence Day. We look forward towards several ceremonies. But those are the good old days. Unfortunately, like the prodigal youth we had, they never waited for maturity before they shot their way to governance. That was what collapsed the entire system. They never, like he said just now, that there was a handover of the elderly ones to the younger ones. But unfortunately, what we have are youth who never waited. Just as we were in a hurry to gain our independence without adequate maturity, so our youth were in a hurry to take over. So they shot their way to governance and shut down the entire system.
Okay.
And the result is where we are now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Edoja. They've made their opening statements, and now as is our tradition, they'll start off with asking themselves questions. We'll begin with Dare asking the first question, and Mr. Edoja must answer.
Well, first, I would like to take you up what you said, that we were too much in a hurry to seek for independence before from the British. Now, I don't know how you mean by that, because preceding independence, I saw things like that healthy rivalry, healthy competition between Obafemi Awolowo, Azikiwe, and the North one of which is the product of which is the legacies like the Obafemi universities, the produce board and all of that. That was after independence.
Yes.
So if they could have done that immediately after independence, that means they hit the ground running.
Okay.
And they did their best to justify it.
Yes.
But you see, your generation that took on after them, how come after all that, like you said, the good old days that you made,
yes,
how come you you squandered it, and today none of such is available for people like my own generation to meet? Because now you are blaming us that it is our fault that we didn't have that privilege.
No, you will get to know. See, there are usually transitions in life. Now, we refer to people, youths, by the Western English Webster Dictionary said, youth, these are time in the life of a man, usually marked by growth and development, especially the period between childhood and adulthood or maturity. The entire country, as we see today, is being run by youth. Only 5% of the people
by youth.
Yes, only 5% of the people in government you can refer to as adult. The rest, and this thing started since 1966. If you had allowed the Obafemi Awolowo, the Nnamdi Azikiwe, if you had allowed them to conduct an election, if you
I wasn't around in their days.
I'm telling you, the youth. If the youth has allowed them, because those who
the youth of today, or the youth of your own generation,
the youth began from the time the first military coup was hatched. But these were boys who were following. No, I'm telling you,
that was in your own youthful days.
I'm telling you, we were all shoved away. All the elders were all forced out because you claimed that you can do it better than the Awolowo, you can do it better than the Zik, you can do it better than the Ahmed Bello.
Hold on.
And now having gone to power,
Mr. Doja,
yes.
You're saying he claimed.
Youth. When I say, see, he represents the youth.
We're talking now.
Yes.
That was you in your youthful days.
It was only
in those days, that youth you're talking about, that was your day of being youthful.
I wasn't even around then.
His question was that you, in your youth, you met the good old days.
Yes.
As you said.
Yes.
But right now, you're not living any good old days.
You are not getting the picture right. We met the Awolowos in government. We met the Zik in government. At least we were toddler, but we knew what they did. Now a group of ambitious youth came and took over.
Your own generation.
Your generation as youth, because they never allowed.
I wasn't born then.
If you were not born, they were youth then. No, I'm only telling you, they never allowed that maturity to gain ground. Now the same thing happens. Even in 1999, even if when this democracy came on board, it was dominated practically by the youth, dominated by applicants, failed lawyers, quack doctors, unsuccessful businessmen. These were the people who were adventurers. They came to government and they have shut the door against the elders. Even, it might interest you that sometimes we compare the use, when we refer to the use of Nigeria, we refer to people who have no job. That's what they say these days. But I can tell you, the youth, anybody below the age of 50 is a youth, because these are the growing period of a man. These are the time that men and boys and girls are still making adventures. They are not mature yet for governance. So and when you take failure to government, you cannot expect success. If you are a failed medical doctor, if you are a quack doctor, or a mango tree lawyer, and you become a governor, definitely the outcome is going to be myriads of failure.
In essence, because the youth of that period that you are talking about, I wasn't there. I wasn't in that
picture. Even the youth of today now, in government today, I can tell you the people who are in the National Assembly,
they are only following suit with the legacy you guys left for them. No. Remember, that was the day when you tell us that the problem for Nigeria is not the money, but how to spend it. So the money was there.
No. So see, let us even keep the old leaders away.
You were a youth.
Yes.
And
I was waiting for my time.
And you were waiting for your time. And your time came.
My time didn't come.
Former member of the National Assembly.
For me, I was
your time came.
Your time came.
Your time came.
The same military came and shot us away.
No, your time came. Did your time come?
Yes, it came.
You got into
the same
leadership.
Youth never allowed us. They threw us away. So you can see that these youth have been so restive. They never allowed, like this present democracy, these are the same youth that are hitting the politics. You see applicants wanting to preside over the leadership of a House of Assembly. Applicant, somebody who has no pedigree, who have nothing.
What makes him an applicant?
Yes.
And what's the pedigree you're talking about the people who are there? Permit me to remind you that a former president of this country
Yes.
refer to these same people as crooks and criminals.
Yes.
So what makes them better than these applicants, so to say? Borrowing from the words of the president, after all these people are crooks and criminals.
I never.
So what
I
makes
never
him
refer to any of them.
inferior?
That would be an aberration.
I'm not saying that.
You
I'm
are the
just
one saying
quoting
that.
here.
Yeah, but I can never refer to them because what happened was this sudden transmission break between those in government and ambitious youth who want to seek.
That wasn't in my own
No,
generation.
you too, you are bishop, because if you are given the opportunity today, you want to be a counselor because you don't have any role model anymore. What you see
because
to
there
you,
are no people like in your own generation
Yes.
for me to copy as a role model.
yes, no, because you didn't wait.
And in any case,
You didn't wait. Not
for
you
what?
as a person,
Yes,
but
no,
the
I'm
youth.
yes.
Yes, you are standing for the youth.
What-
The
what-
youth never waited for their
How
time.
long? How long again
how
do
long?
we wait?
Okay, now that the youth is on,
On,
the youth
yeah.
is the youth are now.
Yeah,
are
we-
they now waiting?
No, what happened? The youth.
Do you think they are now waiting?
No, as we speak today.
And the older
as-
generation keep recycling
No.
themselves.
As we speak today, the youth is in power. The older generations are waiting. We are
I
not watching them.
beg to differ.
Yes,
I beg to
because
differ.
if you check across from councillorship, the 774 councillorship, the local government chairman, the governors, those who are above 50, you can count them barely on
Who
my
put them
phone.
there? Whose interest are they
It was
serving?
put there by you.
Me?
You are the youth that
Since
kept
when
them
did
there.
my vote start to
All
count in this
if
country?
they don't count, it is
It's
one of
it's
you that is stronger than
Godfathers,
you.
it's people in
It
your own
is
generation who
somebody-
have been able to,
it's a youth
entrench
that is
themselves in
stronger
that
than you.
system. That people like me with ideas,
If you had ideas,
cannot come in.
you would have been able to come to governance with a pedigree.
What
I cannot imagine somebody who is a failed medical doctor or a quack lawyer in government house.
Okay.
What is he going to render to the people? You must come to see.
It doesn't
Nyota
matter
is
what
here
he has
today
to
because
render.
he has what it takes to become a journalist.
Because
he
he's
went
a
through the
professional
certificate.
setting.
Yes. No. Also, governance is a serious business. It's a business of service. Those days you have when you write letter, those days you say yours obediently. You know that way you want to be an obedient servant to serve the people. What you have now is obedient master. This youth. They are obedient master. In fact, that's why you see them on the run for your dear life, because they are youth, and with all the youthful exuberance. During the time of the old days, the good old days, we talk, we can walk. I remember when we come to Lagos, we can walk from here to Surulere and walk back.
When you met that, how did you prepare that your own children would enjoy such a privilege?
We prepare our children. We send them to the best of schools. They return. Let me give you a typical example. In 1963, when they created Midwest, the first thing that our elders did was to establish 3 industries: Delta Glass, Ugele, Bende Cement Factory, the Midwest Cement Factory, Okwila, and Asaba Texami. 3 to cater for the 3 senatorial zones. The first thing they did, because they knew as civil servants coming from Ibadan, they may not have the opportunity to have enough offices that's going to occupy all our youth and those who are coming out of school. They did that. If every government that has to establish 2-3 industries from that time till now, we will not be where we are. But when we got to 1966, some ambitious youth, I keep on telling you, they said this.
1966, I wasn't born then.
No,
I
I'm
wasn't
only telling
in the
you.
picture.
You see, today you are standing in for the youth.
Yes.
Some ambitious youth came and said these elderly ones are not doing it well.
But they
are
saw
not doing
something.
it right.
They saw something.
Whatever they have seen, if they have allowed that system to continue, the parliamentary system,
But that
by
was
today,
that was
the
a decade.
wastage.
Remember, that was a period when one of the prominent people in governance then went to UK in a gown where he flowing with money. Printed British pounds printed on it. Do you think the Britons will be happy saying? I mean, like that was then. Look,
if you meet your father,
did not start
if
today.
you meet your father,
Corruption did not start today.
No,
it had been even as far back as the 60s. That was why the military.
I was not. You say you were not born then, so you cannot attest to that.
I'm a student of history.
So you can say what you know, but you don't say what you don't know. Today, is it corruption you have now or mega corruption? Tell me what is there any other word we can
progresses.
use?
That
so
is
the
what
youth
you
are
set
the one that
on
have
the ground. That is what we made.
The only improvement I can tell you that the youth has brought to governance today is to improve on corruption. If corruption exists that time, it was something you hide.
Honorable Duja.
Now you don't hide it.
Mr. Duja, sorry. You said after independence.
Yes.
The elders of those days.
Yes.
Your elders in those days.
Yes.
Set up industries. You mentioned 3
Yes.
industries. And now in your day,
Yes.
that you are an elder,
Yes.
what industry have you set up for the youth?
This is what I'm saying. We are just saying the same thing that.
No, have you set
Go-
up any industry
No.
for this youth
No.
so that he won't have to be screaming that he's jobless?
No, see.
Have you set up any industry?
No, I have not.
Have you set up any school so that this youth can be educated, so that he will not be walking around looking for a job?
Because not everybody would have had the
You are
privilege
not-
you have
is-
in
you are
government
not
to send their children abroad.
Get the analysis right. The government now.
We're not talking analysis, right?
Yes,
we're talking today.
Yes,
practical
the
terms.
government practically today is dominated by youth. At all levels.
You see,
Local
that is-
government chairman, House of Assembly, National Assembly. In fact, if you want to count those who are age 50 and above, before you count
you see,
20 names, you
let's-
are tired.
But sir,
So the people who are running the government today are the youth. And if they cannot cater for themselves,
But sir,
then they should
you
be
guys,
something.
you guys have so
So
much
I-
corrupted the system that there is nothing
What
they
did
can
they do?
Because look, this is a young guy I mean, how does he? In the first place, how does he even get into the system where he needs so much money, and it's practically about what godfather you have to endorse you. So at the end of the day, it is still you people that determines who goes there.
No. The youth that.
So when they get there, they only
You are not
continue.
denying that.
No, the youth that.
No, do you agree that
No,
it's
no.
your
still your
generation
generation
that
that
determines who goes
tell
in
me
there,
who goes
that
there.
determine the youths that went in there,
No,
so
no.
that they'll serve you,
No.
so that you can sit back
Sit
and just be
back and-
collecting
and
their
collect-
I totally disagree, because those who carry AK-47 and shot their way to government house, those are not elders. Those are not. Wait, I'm telling you now.
You're just talking-
We've left that
You
one.
could have allowed me to.
We are
avoid-
talking now.
Listen,
Now,
you'll
the
have-
dreams that the fathers
Wait,
built at 52
wait,
years.
yes.
What
These-
happened to those dreams?
These
You
are
met
the
the dreams.
Yes, I made the dream,
You
and
met
I
the
enjoyed
dreams.
it. In fact, it's
You
that dream
enjoyed
that
the
sent
dream.
me- that sent me to school.
The question which he's trying to put out
Yes.
is, having met the dream, what part of that dream have you left
Have
for
you
him?
left for people like
That's
me?
what we are saying.
What part have you left for
the
him?
part I left is that when those ones that shot their way were going to pull out their uniform, they wore it on another set of youth. They did not leave it for the elders to run the administration of this country.
But
when the soldiers, let me be clear now in my terms, when they were leaving, a lot of them hung their khaki and wore
Agbada.
agbada and came back to government house as youth, because they are never tired. And then to crown it all, they made sure that you only play a passive role. You only play a passive role.
And your generation
and
was
the whole
comfortable
and
to play that passive role, receiving crumbs.
Because don't forget that at a certain age, you can no longer flex muscle with this youth. The youth that we have now, they have enough energy. That is why when you see the quantum of money they steal,
See,
it
sir,
makes you
that
begin to-
statement
no.
you made that
Yes.
at a certain age you can no longer flex.
No, you
I
cannot.
choose to differ with that.
How?
Because even one person can make so much change.
How?
Nelson Mandela,
yes,
he was just
he was
one
allowed to do
person.
that. He allowed.
Who
look at
allowed him? He faced the entire might of.
Do you have a Nelson Mandela
apartheid.
in Nigeria?
Sir?
Can you show me a man you can call Nelson Mandela
Because
in
people
Nigeria?
like you are,
The
I mean,
youth,
you
went after-
sold out.
after-
All you were
no,
interested,
no,
all you were
no.
interested is in building fortune for yourself,
No.
collecting contracts from these same
No. Nelson Mandela-
military guys you are so much castigating now.
Nelson
These military
Mandela-
guys made many of you rich.
No, well, I don't know whether I made you rich, but we know
I
that
wasn't there. It wasn't my
Those
generation.
who were in politics at that time knew that the cause of the problem we have is that up till now we are not able to recover from that shock, because those who would have built this country stayed away. In fact, as a matter of fact, after the Nadleco fight that brought about this current government, how many of those who fought during the days of Nadleco are in government? It was the state was left open for.
Because at that then,
Yeah.
the same endemic problem that the military guys came to solve only transformed. And
So they transformed themselves.
Being the idealists that they were, the Nadeko and the likes,
Yes.
they don't have the money to contribute to face.
So you have said it all, that
to
we-
face,
that
to
is-
face people in your own generation who were jobbers, who had collected, enriched themselves through these same military guys.
No,
You know,
if we had that kind of money you are talking about, we should be in government. If we had the kind of money,
Who's the we?
we, the elders, should be in
Yeah,
government.
so
I said
who
the
is
one
the
in
government
government.
right
But it's youth.
No, hold on.
No.
No,
hold
it's
on,
youth.
hold on,
Let's
hold on.
okay, let's look
Hold
at
on,
the
gentlemen,
process.
hold on.
Yes.
I just read the definition of youth here. I
Yes.
gave the age range of youth
Yes.
to be between 14 and 35.
Okay.
No,
That's the age range of
but
youth.
the
Hold
Webster
on, that's
Dictionary
the-
define it as the period of growth and development in a man's life.
Okay, so
Yes.
a man who is growing and developing up to 76 is still a youth.
It's a youth.
It's
It
a
is-
youth.
When you are mature,
Like for instance, I
yes.
know that one of the political parties has their
A man of
national
over-
youth leader as
Youth leader.
being about
Oh, come
70-something
on.
years. That's,
that's
being
why-
a youth.
A youth.
Is that being a youth?
Once you see,
No,
eh,
Mr. Doja, is that a youth?
Is that a youth?
yes,
Because he's still developing.
if you are still developing, if you are still searching for a job, if you have not
He's
reached
a
your
youth.
At
your,
60.
your cruising level,
He's
you are a youth.
He's a
You are
youth.
youth.
Yes.
So what do you
know-
call your own your
So what would
children?
what?
What
Exactly.
will you call your children of
A child is a
25?
child. When you say children, children are children.
So that
If-
means
so-
your child will perpetually remain a shadow of itself
Well, you
just
sup-
because you have
are-
not fulfilled.
No, you are
your-
let's face facts.
Okay.
Are we, our youths, supposed to be running the affairs of a country
Why not?
when they have no pedigree? They have not run the affair of a home.
how
They are
did
not married. They have not even been able to run a family.
How did
Some
they-
of them,
how
I'm
did they
only
get
telling
that
you,
pedigree?
They have not even run a family unit. They have not run a saloon. They have not run a organizing workshop.
But
so they
today-
will start by running the affairs of men.
But
Is
today,
that possible?
But today,
Eh.
all over the world, the
Don't
major
mention anywhere outside the world.
invention.
Nigeria is a unique country.
Wait, the major inventions that the world celebrates today
those are-
are by youth.
Yes.
Facebook,
Yes.
the internet
No,
are dominated by the
you
youth.
run the affairs of a country by Facebook. We are telling you the practical realities that is on ground now. It's not Facebook matter. In fact, this Facebook and social media is what has brought us to some of these things that we witness today.
There you go. I was just waiting for you to say
Yes.
that. You see, your generation
Yes.
is always a crybaby.
Why?
When
Well,
when
how
internet
many
was coming
Facebook
up,
did
you
you
were
develop
shouting,
when you
you
were
were
in
shouting,
the
you were
university?
shouting of
We
brain
send
drain,
you
brain
to
drain,
the
brain
best
drain, and
university.
it was this same phenomenon that gave Nigeria brain drain that Indian and Asia took. I remember that was the period when every young
When
guy
they
left
took it,
university
so they left
and
it for
go
the youth to
abroad
run the affair.
because
Did
West
Gandhi,
was
did they tell
paying-
you Gandhi or Mahatma Nehru, was he a youth? Well, are you telling me now that even
But you see, those were the icons. Those were the
you
idealists.
see,
They were able to
administration.
galvanize the youth. They had ideas. They
So
had visions
are you
that
saying-
the youth could latch into. How many of you people? All we had to look at are the previous generation before you. The Awolowos, the Azikiwe, and the Tafawa Balewas. In your generation, how many of
Did
them?
you allow the Awolowo? Awolowo died.
Your
without
generation did not
fulfilling
allow
his dream because
Awolowo.
of the-
Your
the
generation did
ambitious
not
youth.
Awolowo.
Awolowo, Zeke died without fulfilling his life dream.
Your
Before-
generation
and
did
let me
not
tell-
allow him.
So
Look,
if Zeke had been alive,
Look, let me
right
tell-
now he would have been 90-something.
Yes.
If he had been alive, he would still have been a youth because he needs to fulfill his dream.
but he will have matured.
Of course.
He would have matured.
Because he
Yes.
still needs
But
to
he may
fulfill
not
his
have
dream.
fulfilled
By
his
your
dream.
definition.
Based on what your definition that the youth is one who is still seeking to maximize
Nigeria,
and fulfill his dream.
Awolowo died without fulfilling his ambition. And that's why they say a president that Nigeria never had. If Awolowo was allowed to rule this country, if Zeke was allowed to rule this country,
Because your generation did not allow him.
who?
Your
How
generation.
will we not allow ourselves? Is it we that overthrew ourselves?
All right.
The coup that-
gentlemen, you're at 52, the dreams of yesterday and tomorrow. In other words, the elders and the youth. What's the future of the youth? Do they have a dream? Do they have dreams to look up to? Do they have examples to work with? Or are the elders still ensuring that they run the affairs of the nation? My guests have so far been saying different things. Mr. Edoja believes that the youth do not have the capacity to run the nation. And Mr. Diary believes that the elders have not set an example for them. But I have some tweets here from Edward Agbomi. Edward Agbomi says, as long as today's leaders are sit tight, the youth will become elders of tomorrow, not leaders. I wonder when that will happen. The Lucky Onyema says they have failed wholefully. They never involved youth in the decision-making process. That's from Lucky Onyema. I have some other tweets pouring in as well. But let's get back to our discussion here. Diary, you asked the last question. Mr. Doja, ask your question.
Well, my question is, can you give what you don't have?
No.
The law is, okay. So if you don't have any experience at running the government of a state, why do you want to seek to occupy government offices as a youth?
So
when you know, you have told me you cannot give what you don't have. Remember that could not happen.
Definitely.
Yes. Since you cannot give, so why are you striving to shove away the elders, keep them away? Why don't you wait? Let them run the affairs of this country and then gradually you are transited into government. Why do you want to force them out, as the present youth are doing today?
How gradually is that gradual that you're talking about?
The gradually would have been gradual if in 1966 there was no coup. Then those who took over did not ensure that it is the youth, their own generation, that they handed over.
Those who took over was your generation, and they were part and parcel of even this military.
No,
mind you, many of the
military is an aberration.
Definitely.
When these old ones were in power, when we say the good old days, if you go to Ogba in Ikeja here, you will see people who didn't go to Harvard University, what they do with practical economics, by ensuring that industries are running.
That is what
but
you did.
when the youth came to power, even from 1999 till date, they cannot boast of one industry. Not one.
You said
just
something.
mention one local government that has been run, because all the local government, as far as I concern in this country, are run by youth.
It's because you guys have not left them any good legacy to follow. Now wait.
When we didn't leave you a legacy, then you will have waited for a legacy.
How do we wait?
That is why you cannot run the affair, because
you guys are there collecting tax.
No,
because before somebody could contest in an election today, you must have a godfather, somebody in your own generation who had gone ahead and amassed all the wealth.
No. Now the youth have run the affair of this country for 13 years. Now I still don't understand. Now I am telling you that the youth, whatever definition you give to it, even if you say it is somebody below the age of 50 and down, 99% of people in government today at all levels, they are below the age of 50.
But you're just talking, you're talking figure here. Who are they? How did they get there?
No, how they get there doesn't matter now. What matters is that they are now there. Now, for me to enter this place, I have already entered. If I have any attribute, if I have any skill,
if it is no longer the elders of the party, if you remember, the godfathers like you, that got them, that paid so much to get them there, and who must recoup their money, what can they get there and do?
The Benin example is a life story. The Benin example is a life story. You don't need, as soon as you get into office, people are going to judge you. You will be accountable to the people. You are no longer going to be accountable to those secret things that made you to get there. The Machiavelli approach is necessary for you to get there.
Why has not the president of Nigeria today been accounted to the people?
Why not? He's accounted. Why not?
First, he told us the cabals are everywhere. Yes. You know, the cabals are making it difficult for him.
The president never said so. I cannot remember the president of this country accusing the cabal that they are making government difficult for him. He's in charge. And the president has demonstrated that he's in charge.
Are you sure?
Of course. Why not? I have never had
Okay, gentlemen.
You're probably not conversant with the news.
I have a tweet here from Babatunde.
Okay.
And it actually points to you. It says, what was Alexander the Great's pedigree when he conquered the world at 16?
First, you should go and read his history book. Alexander the Great studied very hard, joined the military, read books, and became Alexander the Great because he fought and won several wars.
But people like you made the likes of Obafemi Awolowo University, the likes of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, at a period where an average university in Nigeria was like a 5-star hotel.
Yes.
You guys were in one single room, so every morning you put your dirty laundry on the bed, go to class. By the time you come back, your laundry is washed. There's dinner. Food is served free of charge. FOC. You met all of that, just like Alexander the Great. You had all that opportunity. What was the product of all of that?
The product of all of that is you. Because what happened was that when we now left,
hold on.
Yes.
Okay, now, when you met all of that, you enjoyed all of that.
Yes,
and the products you could leave behind.
Where people like
corruption,
who are failures.
Who are failures.
That is it.
You have failed as a father.
You have failed now.
You have failed as a father.
As a father, like I told you, you are not getting the gist properly.
No. They didn't
wait. If as a father, you had all the best, like Alexander the Great, and all you could bring forth was a corrupt and failed child.
No, can you get it right?
Please.
If you are supposed to stay in a class for 5 years, or you are giving an examination for 5 years, and your examiner asks you to stop after 2 hours or after 2 years, how are you going to transit to the next class? These people were voted to serve for a period of time. The youth like you who couldn't wait claim that the elder has made a mistake.
Youth wasn't in my generation.
They were youth. You will be an elder in the next few years.
Yes.
So, as I speak, they were youth then. And the youth of today, they are in government. No doubt about that.
I still refuse
every governor,
Sir,
every of these ones you see on the street today.
At the last town hall meeting during the fuel debate,
yes,
the central bank governor said it that he had never bought fuel.
He's a youth. You
No,
know.
wait,
forget that he's a governor.
No.
Forget that he's a senior governor.
How many Nigerian youths of today can say that?
Yes.
You see, he was a product of your generation who came in, had the largesse, sent their children abroad, but did not give them that sense of responsibility.
No.
That there are people who do not have this much privilege, to whom we have a responsibility to take on for.
You have to define who a youth is. You have to get it into your head that you, as we speak today, that this country, those in government today, they are essentially youth. And that American and the first world country you copy. If you find the age of Obama or Tony Blair, who became president at age 46 or thereabout, go and check out all their surroundings. Their special advisors, their minister of state, their secretary of state, their elderly ones. They will guide themselves to make sure they don't fall into the booby trap of the youth because of this youthful exuberance. But today, what you find is a situation where the youth want to overthrow all the elders and run them aground.
You see, the truth
and
is,
what they do,
they would have to be overthrown, if that's the word you're using,
yes.
because you want to remain perpetually there forever.
No, we want to set a standard.
Look at Nelson Mandela for all he did.
We see.
You want to set the standard.
For how many years does it take to set any meaningful standard?
The last crop of elder we have in government was those who came into government between 1963. Wait.
What has been their achievements?
Wait. I told you of 1963 that is
1963 and what?
And until 1966.
Okay.
Since then, we never, the closest we had to it was the Shagari era.
Okay.
And the Shagari era, they did wonders. You remember the DSC of Alaja. You remember the Ajaokuta. You remember the refineries. Everything, they hit the ground running until this ambitious route returned again. And when they return again, they bastardized everything. I'm only telling you, everything that we work for. And then when they were leaving, because they made a mistake the last time they allowed the like of Shagari to come in and some of these elders. This time when they were going, they put in place youths. And these are the youths that are running the country now.
And this youth
don't never.
In
fact, they run. They had the privilege of reading books, but they didn't witness the good old days that we saw.
Okay. But the thing is, I still fail to see the product of that good old days that you saw. But you keep blaming it on the military that came in.
Forget about the military. I'm blaming it on the youth. Look at it, for instance. All our commanding heights in this country today, name it, they have all been sold to the youth. The youth has acquired them because they want to be as rich as their forefathers. They have acquired them. They have not added not one, to what they meant. But those old days, when the elders were running this country, they thought about the youth and created environment that will create job for them. I never see a youth those days walking around government house doing what?
You see,
doing what? But today, all our youth, no one want to work hard, no one want to read book. All they are interested in is government house, either at the local,
that is the only option you have left.
No, that is the only thing that the youth has not destroyed.
People like
and
you,
they are about
in your
to
own generation, who had privilege to the good old days and all the government funds, has all the money to send their children. They don't even have money. They have all the money to send their children abroad.
Unfortunately, under the parliamentary system, those in government, they are very much accountable to the people. They have no money to send anybody anywhere. In fact, they live by example. Now, as a youth, you are talking to me today because you are still not being able to. What you have today as youth, I can describe as what people call hammer. These are the generation we have now. Those who want to hammer at any level. But and they have no conscience whatsoever.
That is the box in which you have put them.
No, nobody. You force yourself.
Every other good thing that should ordinarily
the lesson you should learn from the lesson
progress in every other part of the world.
The lesson you should learn is never force your way into any situation. That's why I asked at the beginning. I said, look, can you give what you don't have?
When you make lawful and meaningful transition impossible.
How?
The electoral
those
process.
who carry that
the election
coup,
process.
those
the
who
election
hand over
process.
to you.
The election
The
process.
youth.
All right,
the election
gentlemen.
process. You guys are there, making sure that everything works
How
your
many
way.
elders are there?
Okay, all right, gentlemen. I'm afraid we'll have to begin to round up, but someone sent in a tweet here. This is you, Mr. Doja. It says, said, let that old man, Obatunde, it says, let that old man know that he's sitting between two youths at Faceoff.
Oh.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone that sent in their tweets, but we have just about 10 seconds each to give you a closing statement, beginning with you.
Well, my advice is that for us as a country, we have come along a very long way, and I feel that this time we should allow those who can run the affairs of this country to do it and do it well. We have good example of people who are in government today that meant well, but they are never allowed. So we should not, categorize anybody as a youth or elder. The youth can do it well, the elders can do it well. Whenever we are able to source a material that can do something well, let us go for such material, wherever they are, whether they are youth, whether they are elders.
Okay, thank you. Dari.
Well, they may try to dress it up, but the fact remains that the previous generation has failed the youth of today. And if they refuse to learn, and they still continue to disgrace themselves, I will use the word, a youth leader at 70, but they should learn something from the young people. Take the music industry, for example. You're seeing artists who are still themselves not exactly there yet, but they are mentoring other people. You see, Banky W has people he's bringing up.
All right.
You understand? So let them start mentoring. If they have any value at all, let them start taking other young people and linking them
10 seconds
to the next
are up.
generation.
Thank you very much, Dari, youth activist and social commentator. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having
Mr.
me.
Solomon Edoja, former member of the National Assembly and coordinator of Mass Mobilization Group. Thank you for coming on Face Off. And you are there. Thank you for letting us be a part of your evening. And we'll bring another edition same time next week, Wednesday. For all those that sent in their tweets, thank you so much. His Grace Stober Ash says, the so-called elders do not also have what it takes to govern. That one was just coming in. I thought I should just put that out. The so-called elders do not also have what it takes to govern as well. Anyway, thank you so much. Have yourself a good night.